It's time for bed, ladies.
Peace, this is Brother Hatim, and you have joined us in Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Be sure to check out our site and subscribe at tribe.gyenyame.com. All my brothers and sisters, hold hands and bow your heads. Let us pray. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He ready to make the God. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? I say, defend the poor and the fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and the needy, deliver the poor and needy, rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They go upon and go. All the foundations of the earth are out of book. I have said, you are God, and all of you are children of the Most High. But you shall die like men, and fall like men of the princes. Rise, O God, judge the earth, and thou shalt inherit all nations. Allahu Akbar.
This is Kadar Six, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Keep up with the journey. Check out what we have done in the past. Go to journeyarchives.com.
This is Iddrisu, aka Ace, live from Shisha Lounge, and you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Be sure to follow Gye-Nyame Journey on Facebook, Google Plus, and Twitter. Check us out. Join the journey.
This is Iddrisu, aka Ace, live from Shisha Lounge, and you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio with Monica. Enjoy. This is Raymond with the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
This is Willie. Welcome to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. I want to give a shout out to Silver Kevin, all my Silver Nation out there. I want to give a shout out to my mom. I give a shout out to my grand for raising me and my family for being around me. And I want to give a shout out to the people of my generation that's trying to do something big.
And you're listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Peace, Hotep. It's Mansour Hotep, aka Mr. Diddy. Mr. Diddy doesn't sound good. I think it sounds great. Right now, you're listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
If you're not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve to carry his name. This is Brother Hatim coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Shout out to the Gye-Nyame tribe, Gye-Nyame family. Stand up. Peace. not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve to carry its name. This is Brother Hatem coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Shout out to Jason Tasha. Stand up. You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Peace. This is Gina. And you are now
you listen to my daddy.
on Gye-Nyame
Journey
Radio. Peace.
You heard them. We had enough, man. Family, listen, I want to welcome all of y'all to the congregation of the mighty, the home of the stubborn minority. Am I looking stubborn? Skeptical? The place where your hustle builds muscle. You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Oh, yeah. This is a Heart of a Simple production. And right now you're listening to Folktales for Grown Folks. Where we strive to blow up your old paradigm. That's right, family. Listen. Tonight, we have a folktale. Yes, we do. But the folktale's been a whole. We done went through the book. Right? Folktale right now. Could wait till next week if it needs to. I have a sister who has made a request. She wants the family to hear her presentation. She want to practice. So we're going to give her space to practice her presentation. Right? Now, so family, if you would, go on like and share so that we can go and get her as many opinions and ideas as she needs to go and take her presentation to the next level, because she will be presenting on October 25th. I think it's in the Bronzeville, King Lincoln District. Well, she'll be able to tell you all that. She's going to be presenting, and she want to practice with the family tonight. She's going to give us some good information. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking forward to it. So, as usual, we're going to blow up your old paradigms like we do. Hey, we usually talk about folktales, and you've been slacking off. Family, you got to remember, I do shows 7 days a week. I do extended shows on most weekends. And then I try to do something on Kujichagulia and Ujamaa, right? And it's like, yo, it'd be wearing me out, and it'd be different if I was just doing this, right? Oh, she needs a call-in number. So, family, I'm going to give her the call-in number. But listen, there will be no other call-ins until after her. When she get done with her presentation, you will be able to call in. You better comment on it. And like I said, if you did not listen, or, you know, and you start going sideways with the conversation, I love you, but I'm chopping you off because the sister made a request, and I want to make sure her request is respected. She texts in, she listens in on a regular basis. She's a daily toaster, and she represents her day very well, which, of course, she's a Ujamaa baby, so she know how to use her resources. Hey, that's what they do. But anyway, so I'm going to go and text her the number real quick. Give me a couple of more seconds because I need to go and get my commercials in. All right, family. I posted it, the call-in number, and that's for her. Y'all should already know the call-in number. She going to call in, but while she's getting ready to call in, I want to remind you, family, that you can support Gye-Nyame Journey by doing several different things. One of them is by checking out our free e-course. Join the journey. Get the philosophy. Learn about some of the stuff that we be talking about, right? You know what I'm saying? So that you understand why we call the days what we call them, why we do what we do. Even get some understanding of some of the myths that lie behind Gye-Nyame journey. And there's more coming. Because I had to challenge myself. Because some of the things that we wasn't doing, we was doing excellent research, as a people, but we creating the myths that can actually change behaviors. Because it's the stories that help mold and shape the culture. And those stories come from somewhere. So somebody had to step up and be like, boom, let's start creating some new myths. All right? And that's what we did. So go and check us out on our free e-course. Learn about our philosophy. Learn about some of the stuff that members of Gye-Nyame are doing. You know what I'm saying? And understand when I'm coming at you in certain ways, why I'm coming at you in certain ways, and how we do what we do. All right? Like I said, you can join our tribe, or you could do like some of our family members. Build your own tribe. It's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? To be able to have people that you could depend on. To be able to have a circle. Your circle, right? And then when it's time for us to bring everything together, tribes build into clans. Clans build into communities. Communities build into cities. Cities build into states. States build into nations. Nations conquer the world. All right? So, also, if you would, be so good. Also, check out our merch. Yeah, we got merch. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And you can support us. Every little bit you give, you know what I'm saying, is respected and loved. Because like I said, we out here working hard, family. We out here working hard. And I don't know what's wrong with this thing, man. This is ridiculous. Every time I shut it down. Shouts out to Shorty. I see you out there. And last but not least, family, we also have a tip jar. So if you like what we're doing, go to the tip jar. I'm also going to post up for some of y'all that's out there, because I know some of y'all I like using Cash App, all that other stuff you be doing, Brother Hatim. I don't want to do all that. All right, cool. I'm going to throw up the Cash App too. Throw up the Cash App so that y'all go on to support. Also, remember, we had the mall popping off this weekend. So come visit us at the mall. You know what I'm saying? Come visit us at the mall. It'll be popping off from 12 to 6 p.m. this weekend. We're gonna have an African dance party popping off. Family, friends. Come on out, enjoy yourself. You know what I'm saying? Also, and here's the Cash App. It is #, capital G, capital N, capital J, capital M, EDIA, capital #, capital G, capital N, capital J, capital M, EDIA. You know what I'm saying? So you go hit us up, support us. All right, so now, Sister Regina should be by her phone, about to call in. So we go and we hear what the sister has for us. So y'all get ready. She on her way in. So, and until she get here, let's look at some of the stuff that I might have posted. Now, yesterday and today, I was blessed by some young people, because once again, I told y'all I had a group of young people who wanted to form an anime club, and they needed an advisor, and they called me Mr. Brown. They sought Mr. Brown out. Said, hey, Mr. Brown, we need an advisor for the anime club. And they've been building it up, and I've been coming out. And today I had an opportunity to share something with them that I have found on the internet. And for those of you that have children, and those of you that like cartoons, because I know I'm not the only adult that like cartoons, right? There is a show. Well, there's a video on YouTube called Malika. It is beautiful. And I was watching it with the young people today, and I had to ask the question. Because it was just burning me up. So I said, what do y'all notice different about this cartoon? So they was running through stuff, and I said, no. I said, all right, cool. Let's go back to some of y'all stuff. Some of y'all's, let's go back to some of y'all anime. So my line wasn't on, so that's why she wasn't able to call in. So I don't know what's going on with Uber Conference. Uber Conference is tripping. I don't know what the hell going on. Right? But anyway, I asked the young people, I said, what do you notice?
This call is being recorded.
You got to turn your stuff down in the background. It's going to mess you up when you speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Make sure you turn it down in the background so it won't interfere. But anyway, I asked the young people, I said, hey, what do you notice different about this cartoon? They was like, they couldn't tell me. I said, all right, cool. Y'all like Naruto? I said, okay. I said, what color is Naruto? He white. I said, is there any black characters in Naruto? And they had to think for a while. And then they, oh yeah, that's just one character and this one character. I said, how about Dragon Ball Z? He said, yeah, it's one black character. I said, I hope you ain't talking about Mr. Popo. Yeah, we talking about Mr. Popo. Okay. How about My Hero Academia? How about Fairy Tales? They couldn't tell me. I said, well, what did you notice about this cartoon? They all look like us. I said, oh, all right, now y'all getting it. So we got to talk about some stuff. But now, without any further ado, we want to give it up to Miss Regina Iddrisu.
For the opportunity.
Right, that girl, you blessed us. I don't know what you talking about. But anyway, what I am going to do, family, because I know some of y'all hard-headed, I'm going to lock the conference call right now so that only Sister Regina can be heard. I'm going to put the speaker up here for everybody, and I'm going to give her an opportunity to do her thing. So after she's done, if people want to call in, by all means, your calls are welcome. But while she is presenting, no. You ready, sister?
Yes, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you real good now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so thank you again. And just so everyone knows, Regina Alaton, and I'm doing a TED Talk this coming Friday, October 25th, as part of TEDx KLB, which is King Lincoln Scale. And it's going to be held at the Lincoln Theater Friday. You can get tickets from Ticketmaster or at the Kappa box offices. And there will be a host of other performances, singers, West African dance, food trucks are included in the ticket price. The theme this year is Level Up. So I'm really just grateful to have the opportunity to participate. And grateful to have the opportunity to practice with your audience. So what I'm sorry, go ahead.
That was, don't mind that. That's my computer acting nigger.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Turn it down.
So what I'm doing now this week is really just practicing saying it out loud over and over and over and over. Really practicing my timing and that type of thing. So again, thank you. And I can just go ahead and get started. Before I start, I will add, you won't have the benefit of seeing my slides, but that should be okay.
Hold on.
Today,
Do Do you want to share the slides?
No, because I don't want to deal with like navigating them.
All right, cool.
That's going to throw me off.
All right, because I mean, because this call-in line, just to let you know for future, for the future, this is Uber conference, so I could send you a link where you can plug straight into your computer, and if it's on Google Docs, you will be able to share your screen and present, and then all I have to do is go and put the link up on the thing, and they will be able to see your slides as well as yourself if you wanted to. But that's for the future. You ain't got to worry about it right now.
Yeah, I can't work that fast to get that, accommodate that.
But I want you to know for future presentations that is available.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so here we go. Today, I get to talk about two of my favorite things. One, money. Two, black people. Money, black people. Black people, money. Now, when I say money, I'm specifically referencing philanthropy. The time, the talent, the treasure, the money that people donate to organizations. When I say black people, I'm specifically referencing African Americans, myself included, anyone who checks that box. I love money. I love philanthropy. I have spent the last 19 years of my professional career in major gift fundraising and prospect development, identifying people to give money away to organizations. I analyze data, wealth, and behavior to uncover donors and develop donor strategies for all sorts of causes. I've seen my leads manifest into new buildings, public parks, college scholarships, a women's shelter, a behavioral health facility, state-of-the-art medical facilities for humans and animals alike. My total dollars identified has long surpassed the $1 billion mark. Philanthropy is one of my greatest passions. Donor identification is what I do. And prospect development is my jam. I also love black people. And it pains me that there is this terrible assumption that black people are not philanthropic. There is an assumption of poverty, an assumption that black people don't care, aren't able, are not interested in giving their time, talent, or treasure, their money, to organizations. I want to push past these assumptions and look at facts. Facts of the industry and facts that I have observed for the last 2 decades. So let's be clear. Philanthropy is big business. $427 billion bid. The Giving Institute reports that in 2018 alone, American individuals, foundations, bequests, and corporations donated an estimated $427.71 billion to nonprofits across the country. That's about 2% of our national GDP. That's real money. And it's not consumer dollars. It's tax-free donor dollars. It's tax-free impact dollars. So the next thing that I have to tell you, I've been warned, is either going to blow your mind or you're going to think I'm flat out lying. But I'm going to tell you anyway. African Americans are the most charitable group of people in the United States. Do you believe that? When asked, what does a philanthropist look like? Most of us conjure some version of the Monopoly Man. Some old, white, wealthy white dude comes to save the downtrodden masses with a big check and a nice photo op. And of course, wealthy white men do represent a face of philanthropy. But it's just that, just one face. And despite the whitewashed aesthetic that we've become accustomed to, there is another truth, a more accurate truth. African Americans are the most charitable group of people in the United States. In preparing for this talk, I've come to realize that that sounds absurd and unbelievable to some people. And while it may seem inflated to some of us, the fact is, those that study and research philanthropy know this to be an absolute truth. Not only that, there's no start date. Researchers cannot identify a start date for African American philanthropy. The general consensus as accepted truth is that African Americans are the most generous, the most charitable group of people in the United States and always have been since the beginning of time. One could argue that philanthropy is in our DNA. We all know black don't crack. But do we know black gives back? Black gives back to the tune of $11 billion every year. African Americans generally donate $11 billion every year to organizations. Now, this is not rent, it's not mortgage, it's not the car note, it's not utilities, it's not school, it's not clothes, it's not the forever loans that we give to family and friends. This is an extra $11 billion that we own free and clear and elect to give away. Just here, take my wealth, please and thank you. And it's not just a couple of Oprahs or a few Tyler Perrys. Allow me to brag about my people briefly. According to the Kellogg Foundation and Rockefeller Philanthropy, approximately 2/3 of African American households donate money to a charity every year. 2/3 of us. Now look to the person sitting to your left. Look to the person, look at your neighbor on your right. At least 2 of you are philanthropists. Black gives back. According to the U.S. Trust and the Indiana University Lilly Family School of Philanthropy conducted a multi-year study and was funded by the U.S. banks. And they determined that 30% of African American families donate because of family tradition. For white Americans, for white donors, this number lags at only 18%. Being a philanthropist is passed down from one generation to the next for 30% of us. For me, that tradition is personal. It's my grandmother making curtains for the new wing at church. It was my Aunt Ruby, a Murph in Churchwomen United, attending endless board meetings and fundraisers. It was my Uncle Archie sliding a couple bucks to some brothers, passing out flyers, walking down the street in front of my grandmother's house in South Linden. I was about 8 or 9, and I couldn't understand all the words on the flyer, but the colors struck me and stuck with me. Red, black, and green. And I knew it was important. In the same study, it was determined that compared to all other ethnic groups, African Americans are twice as likely to believe in the impact of their gifts. They believe in the impact of collective giving, believe in the work that the organization is doing. Same report, 41% of African American donors report plans to increase their giving in the next 3 to 5 years. This is nearly double 24% of white donors that report plans to increase their giving. Now, I said, prospect development is my jam. I've spent my entire career identifying donors for multi-billion-dollar campaigns. I know a hot prospect when I see one. The person who has a family tradition of giving, the donor who's already self-motivated to increase their gifts, the supporter who deeply believes in the impact of collective individual giving, that is your best prospect for a gift right now, a gift 5 years from now, a gift a generation from now. That's money. That's Black people. Now, I have to show you something else about the money. Because not only are African Americans the most charitable, our generous nature often leads well-meaning Black people to start nonprofits. And when I ask these well-meaning people how they plan to pay for their programs, how they plan to fund their vision to save the world, the answer is always the same. Apply for a grant. So we need to look at that. $427 billion went to nonprofit organizations in 2018. Where did all that money come from? 68% of that came from individuals. And certainly, this includes those big gifts we hear about on the news. But the majority of that were individual donations of $2,500 or less. Look at your neighbors. We live in this 68%. Runner-up to the individual, foundations at 18%. That's your community foundations and family foundations. Following that, 9% of that came from bequests. People that made plans in their will to donate money after their death. And last, and absolutely least, corporate grants at only 5%. Certainly, corporate partners are important, but we're competing with 1.5 million nonprofits in the United States for 5% of the pie. Too often, we're ignoring our best prospects, ourselves. America's favorite philanthropist, John Rockefeller, coined the term the business of benevolence. Philanthropy is a real business. Black people play a very real role in it. And like any other industry, representation matters. Philanthropy is not just wealthy white men. It's you, and it's the person sitting next to you. It's Black Philanthropy Month, launched in 2011 by the Pan-African Women's Philanthropy Network to celebrate African descent giving every August. It's the Soul of Philanthropy Cleveland, an exhibition of stories and images chronicling the history and impact of Black philanthropy in Cleveland, Ohio. It's my sister and I creating Sister in the Fire as a vehicle to donate money to grassroots organizations in our hometown of Columbus, Ohio, as well as our sister city of Accra, Ghana. It's rescuing our grandparents' former home from public auction so it can be restored as a home base for our community foundation. Philanthropy is not just my job, it's my life. Philanthropy is in my DNA. It's in my blood. It's in all of our blood. And the time is now for us to be more intentional. We're facing real challenges as African Americans. Are these nonprofits addressing any of our most basic priorities? In 1898, W.E.B. Du Bois wrote the first piece the first recognized piece measuring Black philanthropy. In it, he put forth a charge, a call to action for Black people to exercise unified strategic philanthropy. This piece was written in response to Ida B. Wells' anti-lynching campaign. In the wake of the Supreme Court's Plessy versus Ferguson decision, and in response to Louisiana's recently implemented grandfather clause. What if we, African Americans, the most charitable, the best prospects in 2019, put our bodies where our
Hold on. Oh, they done kicked me out my own goddamn room. Hold on, Sister Regina. Hold on. Oh, God damn it. Some bullshit. I've been kicked out. Hold on. Some bullshit. I could sit up here and have conversation about nothing and the shit works. So that means you on some key shit. So I'm gonna have to go on and reboot it. All right, family, y'all see what happened when we doing some real building around these parts. It kicks us out. But I remember where she was. So ain't no hassle. I got it. And we got it taped.
This conference is locked by the organizer. Please contact the organizer to unlock the conference if you would like.
That is some bullshit. So I'm locked out of my own conference. Sister Regina. Hello? 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 Hold on. So then I froze hers too. Man, this is some total fuckery. Alright, cool. Alright. Let me get her back up. Alright. Oh, no, we want to view profile. No. See, they done shut her out too. Hold on. We have to call her back. Uber conference. That was some fuckery. All right,
You are the first participant on this Uber conference.
Hold on.
Please hold while we wait for the others to join.
Sister Regina, if you still out there, call in so that you can finish the last part of
This call is being recorded.
Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, they kicked me out right when you was at W.E.B. Du Bois. Wrote a letter in response to Ida B. Wells' thing on lynching.
Oh, okay.
So go on, if you could take it from there. I'm going to step back because I was trying to clear up some stuff. Did you finish?
Okay. I did.
All right, well, you close to the end. Just go and bring the end up for those that wasn't there so that we go and have some discussion.
Okay. We are facing real challenges. Are the nonprofits, the public advocates, we give our tax-free dollars to addressing any of our most basic priorities. In 1898, W.E.B. Du Bois wrote the first recognized piece measuring Black philanthropy. In it, he issued a charge for African Americans to exercise unified strategic philanthropy. In response to the Ida B. Wells anti-lynching campaign, in the wake of the Plessy versus Ferguson Supreme Court ruling, in response to Louisiana's newly implemented grandfather clause. What if we, African Americans, the most charitable, the best prospects in 2019, put our bodies where our billions are? What if we showed up for the fancy galas? Accepted our seat on the board?
Okay, she dropped off. So now that's something on her end because we still up. So now, she issued a challenge. So think of some of the questions that you want to ask. Now, because the broadcast is always up. The broadcast is always up. I ain't gonna say that. But the timeline is always up. You could go on and throw up some of your questions for the sister. Oh, there she go. There she back. She back. All right,
okay, my bad.
Okay, that wasn't me that time. I was about to say, okay, all right, cool. All right, so hold on.
Okay, what?
It was after the Plessy versus Ferguson, and what if we showed up to the galas and and took the board seats?
Yes. Yep. So what if we accepted our seat on the board?
Right.
Ask for impact reports that demonstrate how our communities are benefiting from our $11 billion investment. As we start nonprofits, what if we implemented the industry's most basic best practices for comprehensive contributed revenue? What if we went after 68% of the pie instead of 5%? Du Bois put forth a call to action in 1898, 121 years ago. Today now, third quarter 2019, Black mothers are dying giving birth in hospitals. Black children are being killed on their way to or while at public schools. Black men are dying prematurely for a host of reasons. We can't breathe. We can't carry candy. We can't take a nap. We can't play video games or golf too slowly or ask for help. We can't cook out. We can't enter our own homes. We can't be in our own homes. How many more years? How many more tragedies? How many more billions before we begin to take ownership of our philanthropy? Black people, my people, we are the most charitable group of people in the country. We are our own best prospects. What if we acted like it? Money, Black people, thank you.
Class is in session now. Can I ask a question? Oh my God, hold on. Oh my God, there we go. It went off. So class in session now. So you were speaking about philanthropy. So you mean I don't have to be rich to be a philanthropist?
Absolutely not.
See, that's where just you coming out and defining that term, because you said take the seat at the board or go to the galas. So you mean that philanthropy doesn't mean that I have to be rich. I'm asking again just so that everybody out there can hear that.
Well, no, it doesn't. And one of the points that I'm making is that philanthropy is inherent in us as Africans. It's part of our makeup.
So it's not just giving money, because you mentioned your aunt, sewing curtains for the church and stuff like that. So it's not just about the monetary donation; it's about the time as well.
It is. It's about time, talent, and treasure. That's the phrase that we use in fundraising.
Oh, you
time,
hit us with 3 T's. You hit us with 3 T's. You said talent, time, and treasure. All right, cool. Now let me ask this, because you gave some figures in there. You said that we get 5% of the donations reinvested in our community, but we give 6. Can you clarify those numbers for us so that I could be a little bit more clear on that? Because you was using the term 68%.
I didn't say that any of that. Yeah, I didn't mean to imply that any of that is invested into our community. So the figures that I gave is the breakdown of where the $427 billion comes from.
Okay. And out of you said $427 billion per year?
427.71 billion is what was donated by everyone last year.
Okay. And what percentage of that have you estimated that we give?
Well, you can do the math, which I actually, you're catching me. I haven't done the math on that. So the average total for African Americans is about 11 billion, and that fluctuates. I mean, I don't have like an exact 11 billion, 290.
That's still a lot of dough. That's a lot of dough. So 11 billion out of 400. Let's just round it off. 11 billion out of 400 billion. So 10% will be 40 billion. So we are at a fourth of 10. We're somewhere a fourth of 10. That would be about 3% that we're given. But out of that, out of the 400 billion, how have you estimated how much comes back into our community? I mean, I even come back in.
I have not.
Okay, all right, yeah, but no, that's a large chunk. So when you was talking about the 68%, what were you speaking of?
So 68% of that 427 billion, 68% of that comes from individuals, as opposed to like corporate grants.
So wait, hold on. So 68% of the money that's going to these charities are being given by individual donors and not corporations.
Corporate grants make up only 5%. It's the smallest piece of the pie.
Wait. So if they make up 5% and individual donors make up 68%, where did the rest come from? That's 73. That's 73%. So that leaves 27%. Where did 27% come from?
Right. So 18% of that comes from foundations.
Okay.
And so I found an example would be like the Columbus Foundation, the Cincinnati Foundation, the Dayton Foundation, community foundations like that, as well as like a family foundation.
Where do
that's
with the Black
Yoda?
That's
18%.
The Black Yoda just called in to correct my math. I already know he gonna.
No, not at all. No, not at all.
And then the remaining 9% comes from bequests. And bequests has its own category, which I personally don't like, because I think bequests should just be part of the individual category, because generally a bequest comes because an individual made arrangements in their will to give you money after they died. So I think it should be counted as individuals, but I'm sure, they have their study and their tracking and all of that. And within the industry, I understand why it makes sense to count that separately.
Right, and then
but still, I like to point it. I like to point out that is still individual money.
Nah, but I would say this: it's different individual money, because it actually do kind of. Well, I ain't gonna say that, but I do know why I feel why I would do that as well, because that inspires other people to put me on their insurance policy.
Yeah, absolutely, that's what it is.
So I have to call it something special, because it was just individual. I want to make sure people understand that. I mean, because a lot of these insurance policies, and from other monies, you can go on and make sure that people know that you can still make an impact after you leave this place. But Brother Kwame called in. He had a comment or a question for you as well.
Awesome.
I'm late to the conversation, so I'm reluctant to ask, but I thought I heard a number of 400. I'm rounding it off to 428 billion.
Yeah.
As far as what's donated, is that what you're the term you used?
Let's say 427. Yeah, 427. Yeah.
Well, I thought I heard 427.7, so that's why I rounded.
But it's not. Yeah, we'll just round it.
Well,
down.
you know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's still a lot.
If you think about it, there's roughly about 310 million people in the United States. 30 million of us, roughly, somewhere between 30 and 40 million, if I'm not mistaken. And Hatem, you can correct me on this, or either one of you, black people, correct?
Correct. Somewhere around there.
So, why are they trying to tell us there ain't enough money for reparations?
Because then you mess up the rest of the hustles, brother.
Yeah, well, I would like us to have more conversations about looking at this 11 billion. I would like us to have conversations about self-funded reparations. And I understand that reparations is not like something that you can. The whole idea of reparations is being recompensated and all of that, and the idea of paying yourself back isn't quite the same thing, but. We have 11 billion that we are just giving away, and we seem to focus on waiting for someone else to give us something yet again when we already have it.
Question: now, do they count tithes with that 11 billion?
They do. So donations to religious institutions are included if the organization is a 501c3, but it's also important to point out that across the board for all groups, faith-based giving is decreasing and has been consistently for the last several years.
Oh, yeah.
So, but our giving has not. So that, with or without that faith-based giving, we're still giving.
So, but in other communities, the faith-based giving is dropping.
It's down for everyone.
Oh, it's down for everyone. I mean, churches.
Yeah, because the younger generation, we don't have it like our parents and grandparents.
I agree.
Had it as far as a steady income and a hustle or two. You know what I mean?
Well, what is on the rise for young people is what's called rage philanthropy.
You said, wait, stop. It's called what type of philanthropy?
Rage.
Rage?
R-A-G-E. R-A-G-E. Rage.
Uh-oh.
So when they get upset, for example, with a particular issue or whatever, then they'll donate to counter whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's on the rise. So after Trump was elected, and he did that with the Muslim immigration thing, whatever. So immigration organizations and Muslim rights organizations across the country saw a huge spike in their giving without even asking.
All right, family. Then I need some rage right now. Rage and give. Get mad at G. Get mad at something against Gye-Nyame Journey and just give outrageously. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
So what are ideas? And again, understand that I'm coming in late. But what ideas, are you kicking around in your head to inspire? Especially, those of us who are in an African mindset of actually putting skin in the game for those matters that will help to better ourselves and not giving outside all the time like we tend to do.
Yeah. So this really is like the TED Talk is something that the opportunity was offered to me, and I took it. And now, as the time draws closer and I'm practicing, I'm beginning to realize like that people aren't having this conversation
At all.
And now people are asking me, like, what's your solution? What are you going to do next? And I'm like, I don't know. I really just was going to do this talk. And it's not it.
No, and these are things that, we all have to percolate in our heads.
Right.
Yeah.
When Hatem and the rest of us are talking about how to engage, our warriors in training, you listen to some people talk. Anime is, they just, I hate anime. That's kiddie stuff. I don't want nothing to do with it. But these are the things our children are into, so we use that as an inspiration to engage in deeper conversations. And so, so these are things, we just have to let percolate in our heads a little bit. And as we start to look around and, sometimes nature will inspire us to say, hey, that might be a good idea, and so, but yeah, so just let it percolate in your head. And when you have something,
the answers is going to
hit a brother up. What I mean?
Right. Actually.
So, certainly I have ideas. And so when you ask me, like, what am I going to do next or whatever, or what's my idea? So, like, really, like this, doing this talk and just putting it out there, it's kind of like I need other people to be thinking about it in this way other than me. Because I know this information, and knowing this information and working with community organizations and trying to impart best practices has not been all that successful. It's been a challenge to go to lots of small organizations having a full understanding of how to make it work, and then they don't have the capacity, they don't have the infrastructure, or just don't have, I don't know.
All right, now
it just can be a challenge.
So maybe
wait.
Go ahead,
let me ask. Now, so describe what having capacity and having infrastructure means for somebody like myself, because I'm like, what do you mean don't have the capacity?
So something really, really basic.
Get in bed.
Start with infrastructure. Infrastructure, because that's.
I'm going to give a basic example and talk about how that reflects on the infrastructure. So, as a donor, no matter what I give, no matter what the amount is, when I make a donation, I expect a thank you letter.
Ooh.
I expect.
So now what you're talking about is giving ethics. See, because a lot of people
I'm
don't know
talking
that.
about industry best practices.
Right. I mean, most people don't know that. I thought you gave because you gave from the bottom of your heart. You telling me people want something back. See, that's ethics. I didn't know that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. But Brother Hatem, it's one of the things that oftentimes, you say it and I don't think you realize all that you're saying when you're saying we want this to be a reciprocal thing.
Right.
And so when a donation is given to reciprocate, as this is Sister Regina, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. As Sister Regina's pointing out, to have at least taken some time to, jot down a brief thank you and to send that out.
It's even more basic than that. If your wife brings you your plate with a delicious dinner, what do you say?
Thank you, my love.
There you go.
That's why I be having problems. I don't be saying nothing. I just be eating.
No. And so, okay, so I'm going to answer this in like two parts. So I'm going to now address capacity. Capacity issues, capacity Evidence of problems with capacity manifest and bubble up when you have these conversations. When I say to someone, you should be writing thank you letters, and their executive leadership says, I'm not writing a thank you letter because people should be giving from their heart.
Ooh.
And so then the conversation ends because we can't go any further. That's capacity. And that's a mindset that I see so often in our organizations. So we can't even get to the business of it because you're stuck on something else. And now we're arguing about, then if this is board meetings, this is strategy meetings. Then you have people arguing about, well, should people be giving from the bottom of their heart? No, they shouldn't. They should be giving because, and you're arguing about that and you're not even focused on the revenue. So that's a perfect example of poor capacity.
And you have...
And so let's get back to infrastructure.
Right. Go ahead.
So the infrastructure, this is basic industry practices. And people can feel how they want to feel about it, but these are basic industry practices for nonprofit organizations that generate millions of dollars each year. When someone gives you money, you write a thank you letter. You acknowledge that gift with a thank you. The typical acknowledgement cycle, you receive a gift on one day, within 72 hours, you have acknowledged that gift. That is a basic industry standard.
Now, Sister Regina.
I got a quick question.
So I haven't answered the infrastructure yet.
Oh.
So what typically happens when you give donations, what too often I see happen for our organizations, they receive a donation and they never send a thank you. They never acknowledge it, or they do it sometime later in the year, if at all. That's an infrastructure issue because that means you don't have anybody on your staff to receive that gift, deposit that gift, enter that gift information into a database, produce a letter, send that letter, track that gift, track that donor. That's all infrastructure. And that's how it plays out on the most basic level. And if you can't acknowledge a $25 gift, there's no way that person's ever going to give you $250, $2,500, $250,000. There's no way they're going to leave you in their insurance plan. They're not going to leave their property to you. That's basic. In most of our organizations, the grassroots organizations, so why is it a challenge for me? Because most organizations can't get past those first two things.
We won't have that problem, Gye-Nyame, no more because... really, think about, because Sister Regina, one of the things that you bring in, too, because one of the things you mentioned in your talk, and I never thought about it like that, you called it an industry. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, what you're talking about is information that a lot of people don't have. As basic, because to you it might sound basic, but that shit has never really occurred to me. And I know if it ain't occurred to you know what I'm saying, to the level that you're talking about.
No, it really has occurred. What I'm saying is
but go ahead,
these kinds of things are talked about, but we're not using the technical term.
Right.
And because I know conversations I've had with you, you said as much, but you didn't use that term, infrastructure. And the question I was going to ask was that, maybe maybe we need to go in a little deeper on this, in the sense that would you like to give a tech talk? Maybe one of our G&J Mall sessions, or at some point, because I think this is critical.
Because she's saying
Oh.
we're giving billions. And
Or
according to what she's saying is, we're giving billions to people who are showing basic consideration for the fact that we gave. Like, I just gave some money
right.
to Ohio State, even though they took double what I was supposed to give. I'm gonna forgive you, Ohio State. I needed that. I needed that little bit of money, but it's cool. But anyway, like she said, within 72 hours, I had a letter from them thanking me for my donation. And as a matter of fact, you made me think about this in a whole nother way, because they called me 6 months ago, and I said, I ain't got no money right about now, but I think, just to put them on, I said, because they weren't going to call me back, but I think around May 15th, no, actually I told them September, I might have some money. And they called me back on the date that I told them. And within 72 hours, when I gave them the little bit of money that I gave them, I had something in the mail thanking me, and with them letting me know that they would look forward to me giving in the future. But then I don't give.
Exactly.
I give to black organizations, or I ain't gonna just say I give to my folks, and not get nothing. And I know for a fact that people have given to Gye-Nyame, and I'm gonna put this part of our infrastructure plan, that we're gonna have some way of being able to respond to people and thank them for giving. I mean, because would an email in the industry be acceptable? Or are we talking about actually, because a lot of times when people give to us on the internet, we don't actually have a physical address to actually send something to. Somebody might be in trouble.
Well, yeah. So, like, if you are like a really strong, high-functioning fundraising team, is thanking different gifts in different ways. But certainly, if you're receiving gifts online and all you have is the email, then yes, an email acknowledgement works. And the other thing that I want to point out is not only is it nice to send a thank you, you have the obligation to acknowledge that for the IRS. Wow. So it's like you have to. You should be.
Well, we're not nonprofit. I have a certain, I went.
Well, you are not, but for nonprofits, you do. You have an obligation to acknowledge that gift and provide certain language. There is language that you must use to recognize that gift. Wow. So it's not optional. It's not.
And
just
we got
nice.
A lot of nonprofits in our community that's not following those IRS laws.
Right. And so those nonprofits go about business thinking like, hey, we're doing things, and they might have some impact, and they wonder why they reach a cap on their giving. And it's usually because of these types of things. Whether or not you know you're supposed to send a thank you note, a donor knows they want it. They know they want to be acknowledged, and they know they're not. And the person who is in the habit of giving, they know what experience they're having with other organizations. And when OSU sends you a thank you letter, you know it. And with comparison, when someone else doesn't, you know that too.
Oh yeah, you definitely know. I mean, and what's crazy is I knew what it was when I threw it in the trash can. I mean, I opened it, took a quick look, and okay. But it still hit the trash can, but the thought is still there. Okay, they acknowledged the fact.
Exactly.
They acknowledged the fact that I gave the little bit I gave them. When I know they getting $100,000 from certain people, they still sent me a letter. Wow. See, that's a whole nother level of the game you're talking about.
That's capacity and infrastructure. So they have the capacity to track the fact that they called you on a certain day. You told them when to call you back. They put that in their database. They have the capacity to generate those reports on a daily or monthly basis so they know who to call. They have student callers that do that calling.
Yeah.
It's a machine. It is a machine. They have people, they use it, well, they still do have a research team, but OSU has a research team, like 15 strong. What they do all day, every day, is find donors. That's all we did. Crank out data, crank out people's names, and track it. So you said, oh, I told them sometime in September just to put them off, but you gave. And you got that thank you letter, and you thought about giving again.
Well,
and
I ain't think about giving
you're
again.
Going to give again.
I might, I felt harassed.
You will.
I don't know.
Because they're going to see
you don't put me up on the game. You don't put me up on the game.
The next thing they're going to do, is send you a letter telling you how much your donation helped the impact story.
Listen, they ain't gonna give me now because you done ruined the game.
They're gonna ask you, do you want to increase the impact of your gift with the increased donation?
Nah, I tell you what, that happened. It wasn't directly. Now that you're right, this is gonna happen this time. But that's what they did with me when they did that with WOSU. They sure did. But I had to move. I moved so they could stop finding me. You know what I'm saying? But part of that capacity
is. Why do I feel like a game's being ran on me?
You said who?
Why do I feel like a game's being ran on me?
It is. I mean,
it's not a game, though. It's not.
No,
it really isn't.
It's a serious. It's a serious game. It's serious. It ain't a game. They serious about it.
I'm being a little facetious, but to be honest, these organizations are doing good.
Yes, they are.
I mean, one of my, I'm an alum at Ohio State as well as Oberlin, but my relationship with Oberlin is a lot deeper, and so I hear you, and I know exactly what you're talking about, because like I said, I felt the game was being run on me. Now, when I'll give you an example, so. When we have our Black student reunion at Oberlin, and we may have had about 110 people there. Out of those 110 people, we were able to raise about $25,000.
Awesome.
As a to help Black students who were coming into Oberlin. And so I know what you mean, because I always get Black students calling me talking about, this, that, and the other. But yeah,
maybe it's a game, but it's not a pimp game.
No,
I mean, it's not like there are some organizations that clearly need to be checked. But I mean, yes, Black students need our help. Colleges need our help. These organizations do need our help. But what I'm talking about is that the fact that there is a system when it comes to people want to support. As I said, philanthropy is in our DNA. We want to support something.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing
but
wrong at all.
You have to have the system in place to maximize that.
All right, so now let me ask you this.
So, we got on our infrastructure. I hear you, sis. I hear you.
So, are there any? What do we give to? I mean, like I said, is there because I know they have those numbers out there. Do you have access to the numbers to know what we give to?
I don't have that information on hand. I didn't prepare that for my talk. Like what specifically African Americans give
to? What percentage goes to? Because for example, me doing my show, I might not get nobody to donate. But if, for example, when we did the thing out in the woods, and I said we needed a grill, it came quick. And in fact, we had to send money back. You know what I'm saying? Because it was purpose. it was purpose. I think it was purpose driven because they could see. I showed them how our stove looked. Said it didn't work, and I wasn't even serious about it because I'm so used to saying, "Hey, we need your help sometime." You know what I'm saying? Boom, but the money came in. It's the same thing with around Kwanzaa or around when we're doing the Malcolm X Festival. If it's purpose driven and they can see, even if they don't come, if they can see a direct result of what you are doing, and it's almost the faster that you are able to produce the result, the more that our family will give. Is it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, noticing stuff like that.
Well, I mean, yes. And so, like, one solution, one thing that I would love to see more organizations do, and, like, I get paid for this, so, like, now I'm giving y'all some free advice. But one thing that I would love to see more of our organizations do, so you have events, and you have these fundraisers. What are you doing with the data? You know, are you tracking who gave what? So if someone is giving you, say the same person gives you $50 every time you do this thing, or they give you $50 a month, or they've given you $200 every year for the last 5 years. Do you have that information? Are you aggregating that data? Are you analyzing that data? Do you have comprehensive data? So having their name, their address, their phone number is very, very helpful, and is more valuable than an email address. And then, like, finding organizations. So most of my clients are white, and I work with predominantly white institutions that have multi-million-dollar campaigns. But I tell them all the same thing, too. Like, you need this data so we have some place to start. And as you're engaging these people, are you thanking them? Are you sending them that follow-up? Are you sending them an email saying, look at what we did. Get ready for the next gift.
See, now, that once again, that infrastructure, and that's where the infrastructure and what's the other term you use? Infrastructure and capacity to, because it's like, that's kind of where we fall short because, when you start getting up,
absolutely,
you got to be able to kind of pay people to do that.
Yes, you do.
So, so the capacity goes back to a lot of our organizations might not have the actual capacity when it comes to financial resources to do some of this stuff. To keep it rolling. Or maybe we are not allocating the proper amount of resources to raise money because, like you said, maybe some of our institutions have become so used to us giving that we don't think we have to do some of this stuff. Could that be it? Could we have spoiled some of our organizations?
I would like to see more of our organizations doing joint campaigns.
Explain. You mean sharing money?
Well, yes.
Oh, good luck with that one. We're gonna get there.
Good luck with that one. Yeah, but look.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Could you repeat that? What did you mean by joint?
Sharing money.
I know.
Sharing money.
And sharing money. The reason why I say this is because we share prospects already.
We sure do. You got a good
We're going after the same people.
You're right.
We oftentimes are addressing some of the same issues.
Right.
Donors. And this is the other thing. This is the other thing. Like, I'm not making this stuff up. Donors want shared campaigns. Donors want nonprofits to figure out how to work together so that they can put together larger campaigns with greater impact. The donor that can give you some money and know that, oh, my gift helped 3 organizations, they'll say yes to that. That's what they're looking for. But too often in our communities, like you said, share money. Good luck with that. And that's the end of it. So you're never going to get that money.
So are you? I mean, because you once again presented this as an industry. Have you proposed a joint campaign to 3 or possibly 4 different black organizations?
No, I haven't.
See, because
so
I'm listening.
Go ahead.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening to you.
No, I'm just asking.
No, I haven't. So, like in my firm, like I said, I work with mostly white organizations, and I've been looking for black organizations for like the last year, 2 years. Black organizations that, one, would take and, would utilize my services. I meet with potential clients that are black, and it's usually kind of the same thing. Like, yeah, we get it, but we just not there yet.
Now, what do they mean when they are not there yet? I mean, have you figured that out? Capacity.
Part of it, I think, is part of it is money. Part of it is definitely capacity. Part of it is a willingness to change bad habits. Part of it is, that they don't want to work with others. They feel like that's just too hard of a sell. And we typically work in isolation. I want to work on my thing and see my thing grow. So I would love to work with black organizations. In my work, I have access to donor information. I pour through data to find donors for any cause, any region, any, whatever. Name the criteria, I can find you some donors for it.
Revolution.
And so, yeah, exactly. And so I would love to have a reason to, one, I would like to begin to populate a database of black donors. So work with different organizations that will be willing to give me their donor information so that we could begin to have a central place of black donors for Columbus. And then the other piece to that is working with them, like to come up with campaigns and basically shared prospects. So I'm used to working with, like at Ohio State is where I spent most of my career. I worked with like 12 different gift officers representing 6 different colleges, which are really like their own mini nonprofits.
Right.
So I'm comfortable working with, more than one. That doesn't bother me. So like I have a few clients right now, but even that few is like just a fraction of my capacity. So I would love the opportunity to bring multiple organizations together. Have a good night.
Oh, you hanging up?
No, I'm saying good night to my husband.
Oh, well, I mean,
he's leaving for work.
Oh, all right. We done held her on too long, family. Listen.
I know. I missed my pre-work time.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But first off, I wanna thank Sister Regina for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm kind of upset that we only have one call, even though it was the Black Yoda, and he asks excellent questions whenever he calls in. So we want to give both of them a round of applause for joining us on the journey.
Hey, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Hold the applause until you send that thank you letter.
Well, I want to thank all those that gave too. So we're going to go on and do the applause all at once.
No, I'm talking about to Regina, man. Come on, Brian.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now I gotta. So the Black Yoda said I gotta do the thank you letter, and but actually, according to what Sister Regina says, the right thing to do is send a thank you letter. So I got to sit down and start learning how to write thank you letters, and actually
Right. See, and that's part of that.
my
Well, anyway, we'll have to talk offline because it gets into
yeah, I know.
costs. And
I do fundraising workshops for youth too.
You said you do workshop for youth.
Well,
For young people, yes.
All right.
so this might be something some of our
Yeah.
young brothers could benefit from, especially Cleve, Tykees, and well, all of them really, but especially our older ones.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to, but I mean, but like I said, if we practice and they see it, they'll do it. So, they imitate us. So we have to put some of this wisdom into motion. But Sister Regina, I want to thank you for joining us, and my spiritual crowd says.
And I said,
And she will be presenting at the TEDx, and is it the Bronzeville? What is it called?
TEDx KLB.
TEDx KLB, and we're gonna try to push her to a couple of weeks. How many thousands you want to try to push this thing to after you get done doing it?
Couple 100,000.
Okay. Well, Gye-Nyame Journey, I'm having problems getting over 4,200, but we will work on it. She won a couple of 100,000.
I just thank for it all.
Right. So, and we want to thank Brother Kwame for calling in. Sister Cynthia, I seen you out there. I wasn't ignoring you. My computer's acting crazy. If I don't stay on something long enough, it will blank everything out. But I got Sister Cynthia's piece up here. She said, this is what Sister in the Fire does. Pool resources to make donations to nonprofit organizations that celebrate our African culture. But family, I want to thank y'all for tuning in now and later. Once again, we want to thank Sister Regina and family. I want to remind you that you are now standing in the congregation of the mighty, the home of the stubborn minority, the place where your hustle build muscle. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. That's right. Marcus Garvey invitation just went down. And family, this is a Heart of December production. And we were joined by Sister Regina. We want to wish her, ain't no such thing as luck, but cause she gonna kill it. We want her to go out like the warriors of old into battle and just slay the enemy on the stage. She's gonna turn it out. And this is a Heart of December production. Well, we just got our paradigms blown because she let us know something. She gave us some insight into fundraising. So when we strive to blow up your old paradigm.